Breaking news, Marvin Harrison Jr. is not slow, and apparently he's good at football. All that and more in this episode of the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast.
You are Locked On Dynasty Football, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Here are your hosts, Marcus Mosher and Kate Madjuk.
Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Welcome back. I am your host, Marcus Mosher. You can follow me on Twitter at Marcus_Mosher. And joining me today, as always, is Kate Madjuk. You can follow her on Twitter at Kate Madjuk. You can also read her over at Yahoo. On today's show, we are breaking down the biggest winners and losers coming out of week 2. And Kate, we should start with the rookie wide receivers. And I want to start with Marvin Harrison Jr. because he had a rough week 1 outing in Buffalo. There was some absurd talk on Twitter about his lack of athleticism and what was he hiding at the combine by not doing any work. The dude went out and had 4 catches for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first 12 minutes of his game against the Rams.
Yeah, I've got an absurd stat for you, Marcus. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the first rookie to have 4+ receptions and 2+ receiving touchdowns in a first quarter game since his dad in 1996, per NFL research. That is some absolutely maniacal stuff here. And yeah, we can talk all about, what was he trying to hide at the combine? Why didn't he run the 40? You know why he didn't run the 40? Because he didn't have to run the 40. He had absolutely nothing to gain by running the 40-yard dash, and he had everything to lose. So, I'm not going to blame him for not running the 40-yard dash. What we do need to take away is the fact that he is as delivered. And Marcus, he is tied to a very good quarterback here in the National Football League. Kyler is looking like himself again, looking explosive. The pass attack is looking explosive. I think that this is going to be the perfect circumstance with Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. to put on a show for the years to come. I'm so excited.
Yep. I'm glad that you brought up Kyler because I do want to talk about these two together. I mean, obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. is a super stud. It took him a week to get his footing, and now you see it, right? Now, he actually didn't have a catch the rest of the way. It's because they didn't need to. I mean, they were beating the Rams 24-3 at halftime. That game was over, and they were getting other people involved. But I thought Kyler yesterday looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Again, 17-21, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. In the passing game, also added in 60 yards on the ground. This is what a healthy Kyler Murray looks like. And we had, I think you and I both were on the same page here. There were a lot of people out there that had some concerns about, hey, can Kyler Murray get Marvin Harrison Jr. the football? Is he a good enough quarterback to get him enough targets? And the answer is absolutely yes. And actually, Kate, I'm kind of thinking Kyler might be the perfect quarterback for Marvin Harrison Jr. because he can extend plays and throw the ball down the field. He's one of the best deep passers in the league. And I think this was just a glimpse of what we might get the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think all systems go for Kyler Murray. And let's not remember what Kyler Murray looked like when he had a younger and a healthier DeAndre Hopkins, right? We're starting to see that element of the game. And you mentioned the extension of plays. Coming off the torn ACL, we already saw a glimpse at, his willingness to run again after injury so soon. Over 2 games, 116 yards on the ground. No touchdowns just yet, but I have a feeling we're going to get there. He's right now averaging 11.6 yards per carry. I just think Marvin Harrison Jr. is the perfect complement to Kyler Murray's game. I think this year we're going to get a lot of people starting to shush about the mechanism of Kyler Murray and in the offense. Because Can I just say it? He's the antithesis right now of Anthony Richardson for me.
Yes.
Like,
Well, we're gonna get to Anthony Richardson in a little
yeah,
bit, but you're right. I think what you're hoping is that Anthony Richardson becomes Kyler just in a much, much bigger body. But again, we'll talk about Anthony Richardson a little bit. Let's talk about another rookie receiver that took over in week 2, Malik Nabers. After a slow week 1, 18 targets for Malik Nabers, 10 for 127 and a touchdown. It could have been an even bigger day. Neighbors had a couple of drops in there, including a 4th down drop that would have extended the game for the Giants. Um, I think if you were concerned about Daniel Jones not being able to get Neighbors the football, I think that went away at least a little bit this week.
yeah, I think what you saw is like even if the quality of targets from Daniel Jones isn't going to be as high as quality targets from maybe a Kyler Murray, it doesn't really matter because he can hyper target and kind of balance the scales a little bit in that direction. Now, I do want to say, obviously, Malik Nabers looked incredible.
Mhm.
You know, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, literally heading into Monday Night Football, the wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 on the week. Like, we are looking in spiffy shape. I do just want to like preface everybody though that the Giants aren't always going to have this type of game script, right? The Giants aren't always going to be scoring this many touchdowns. The Giants aren't always going to be facing the Washington Commanders secondary. So like I don't necessarily believe that this is the Neighbors we're going to see week in and week out. I think we know that this is his ceiling. I feel a lot safer still looking at the floor of Marvin Harrison Jr. in the offense. So with all that success for all these rookie wide receivers, we should probably talk about Rome Odunze, who is kind of the odd man out right now in terms of rookie production. After last night's game, where again, not anything that I'm attributing to Rome Odunze, this game was honestly kind of a mess. Caleb Williams, I mean, just got absolutely destroyed. If it wasn't behind the offensive line taking a sack, it was just some of these brutal hits he took on scrambles. Like, I have to
11 QB
imagine
hits in
Caleb
this game.
Williams very, very sore after
Yeah.
that Sunday Night Football game. Passer rating, NFL passer rating of just 51. Just everything looked difficult. Rome Odunze, 2 catches, 33 receiving yards, had 5 total targets in the game, almost had a touchdown here. How are you feeling about Rome Odunze in the context of these top 3 rookie wide receivers? Because he definitely does feel like the forgotten child right now.
I think we knew when he was drafted by the Bears, it was probably going to take a bit, right? Because not only was he blocked behind DJ Moore, who was well established, the other 2 teams did not have an established receiver like DJ Moore. He's also playing with a rookie quarterback and a pretty rough offensive line. I'm not concerned about Rome Odunze at all. He was banged up coming into this game. Houston might be the best pass rush that Chicago faces all year with Danielle Hunter and Willie Anderson. I believe I'll have to double check the stats, but I believe they counted Houston's defense had 36 pressures in this game.
I'm
That's
pretty
not
sure
an
that
exaggeration.
is
It was 36 pressures on 37 dropbacks. Pretty unbelievable. So I'm not concerned about Rome Odunze at all. I think it's just going to take a little bit longer. But as for Marvin Harrison and Malik Nabers, like those guys are locked and loaded wide receiver 1s every week going forward.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm probably going to approach this situation like we said. Rome Odunze not fully healthy. Had a sprained MCL coming into this game. Wasn't even a lock to play. I think surprised everybody because he did play and he played a lot of snaps. So like I'm going to take that with a grain of salt. I think maybe if Keenan Allen had been healthy in this one and available to them, they might have eased the workload on Rome Odunze. But I think this could be a prime buy low opportunity presenting itself. We were already kind of buying low just because
Yeah.
we knew that this was going to be a more patient process for Rome. But after seeing the contrast between Rome and these other 2 rookie wide receivers, I think an even greater opportunity to buy low is presenting itself because I still think
I
the
agree.
sky is the limit for a guy like Rome.
Yeah, I'm still all in on Rome Odunze. Like nothing from the first 2 games has me concerned at all, Kate. Like I'm still buying. And what would you be willing to give up for Rome right now?
I mean, a first plus.
That's the way I feel.
think he
First
is.
plus.
Yeah, he's a top 15 dynasty wide receiver right now. And, take a temperature check in your league,
Yep.
see how people are feeling, because again, this is kind of that perfect week to do it when you have that contrast, that very stark contrast. Coming off a Bears game in prime time that all your league mates were watching, like this is a great time.
Yep, I
Great
agree.
time.
All right, let's talk about some concerning quarterback performances from week 2, including Anthony Richardson. We will get to him next. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. PrizePicks is the best way to get action on sports in most states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. All you have to do is download the PrizePicks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL, and you can get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's promo code LOCKEDONNFL on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. This episode is brought to you by DoorDash. Football season is finally back, which means it's time to order your favorite game day foods, snacks, and drinks on DoorDash without missing a play. Listen, I've been to several, when I mean several, I mean really more like hundreds of football parties over the last several years. And inevitably, you get to these parties and the spread is unimpressive, or they just have no food at all. And that's where DoorDash is going to save you, right? You can order your favorite foods, pizzas, burgers, wings, all from the comfort of your couch. It's the easiest way to enjoy football season. All you have to do is use promo code LOCKFALL24 for 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order. Limited time offer, terms apply. Promo is not valid for orders containing alcohol. DoorDash, your door to game day greatness, your door to more. Download the DoorDash app now to order your game day favorites. Must be 21 or older to order alcohol. Drink responsibly. Alcohol available only in select markets. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We are breaking down the biggest winners and losers coming out of week 2 of the NFL season. Okay, let's talk about Anthony Richardson, who yet again had another rough game. He had 3 interceptions, one albeit on a Hail Mary, 2 fumbles, happened to recover both. But he is now under 50% completion percentage on the season. And I know you don't get points for completion percentage, but I am concerned that this offense just isn't working with Anthony Richardson right now.
The offense is not working. Let's just say, like, everything looks difficult for this Colts offense right now. And I think a big part of that, like, yes, we know the potential for these big chunk monster gains at any given moment is alive, right? And that's a great threat for opposing defenses. Like, you're always going to have to defend the deep ball with Anthony Richardson because he can sling it, and he can sling it off platform. Like, it doesn't matter. So that's going to be a component of the game. But here's the thing, like, everything in these short to intermediate areas looks hard. Everything looks difficult. Nothing looks easy. And it does kind of concern me because this was kind of a coaching fit with Anthony Richardson that I thought was going to be able to mask some of those concerns. Like, coming out of school, my primary concern with Anthony Richardson was obviously not the athleticism, not the ability and the upside as a rusher. It was, is his floor as a passer safe enough to really secure him a job long term in the NFL? And that was kind of my hesitancy in buying into him, just immediately coming out. Now, didn't get to see it in year 1 because of an unfortunate season-ending injury. But what we're seeing right now, I think, the Colts receiving group a pretty talented group overall. And we don't even have Josh Downs in the mix just yet. Like Michael Pittman, A.D. Mitchell, who is, somewhat raw, but has so much explosion. And there's a lot to like about the personnel that the Colts are working with. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem to matter how good the personnel looks because Anthony Richardson, to this point, the 5th lowest accurate pass rate in the NFL right now. Like it's hard. It's really hard. 2nd highest uncatchable inaccurate throw rate in the league, only behind Bryce Young right now.
Yeah, and they can run the ball too. Like Jonathan Taylor, 12 carries for 103 yards, and it still wasn't enough. The good thing here for Anthony Richardson is I think he's going to get the longest leash possible to be successful. But it's still until you start hitting some of these layup throws, right, where you can move the sticks and get to the next set of downs. I have some concerns that this Colts offense is just going to be a train wreck. And there's going to be a lot of these games where they're scoring 10, 13, 17 points. And it's really hard for anybody to have success on offense. I kind of feel like right now, until things get better with Anthony Richardson, you probably knock everybody in their dynasty leagues down a peg. And this is what we saw happen last year. Okay. Like Anthony Richardson would have some unbelievable plays, but the offense actually functioned better when Gardner Minshew was in the lineup. Now, obviously, Minshew is not a long-term solution, but it just showed you what a competent passer looked like in this offense. We're just not there yet with Anthony Richardson. I know it's only been, 6, 7 games. It hasn't been a lot, but I'm concerned.
It's definitely concerning. And I think like probably the biggest difference between an Anthony Richardson and a Gardner Minshew, obviously Anthony Richardson adds an element of explosion to the offense that you don't get with Gardner Minshew. But Gardner Minshew could string together several plays to drive them down the field. Anthony Richardson, it is either a long bomb touchdown or the drive is dead. And it's not going to work long term for them to not be able to find this balance of, getting, an extra foot forward, just getting that first down instead of taking the big shots, right? Like I appreciate the element that he adds to the game in pretty much all facets, but it's, I think, going to be a very inconsistent and bumpy ride. Had a QB4 finish last week in week 1, and that came on the back of 9 total completions. Like we are going to be looking at a lot of volatility for Anthony Richardson, and I'm just kind of hopeful that maybe Shane Steichen can hit the reset button a little bit. We saw him do that with Jalen Hurts. Can he do it again?
Here's one of my fears that I think could happen. If Anthony Richardson struggles or he gets banged up, do you know who the backup is in Indianapolis right now?
No.
It's Joe Flacco. I think there could be some of this, like what we saw last year in Cleveland, is Joe Flacco in this offense with all these receivers and a good offensive line could probably have this offense looking functional. And that would be a really bad look for Anthony Richardson. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope they give Richardson, he needs all these snaps, but it's a concern. I wanted to mention
Flacco's like the Grim Reaper of careers.
I
don't know, man.
Is. One other quarterback that I wanted to mention, Trevor Lawrence, who has really fallen in dynasty leagues at home against Cleveland, 14 of 30. That's under 50% completion percentage. I did do math in school. 220 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Jacksonville scored 13 points. It's getting late early in Jacksonville right now for this offense. It does not look good at all.
It doesn't look good. And I mean, I'm trying not to get take lock. I do want to preface with the idea that, I mean, the Cleveland Browns defense is one of the best in the league. So I wasn't expecting a good game. I did not start Trevor Lawrence in any league other than those that I was absolutely forced to, because I did not expect a good game. But yeah, I mean, if you're a Trevor Lawrence manager, you are left sorely wanting something more. Now, I have to say, in year 4, I mean, this is a big cry from we're due for some positive regression and a huge way, right? Like, I don't think you just suddenly see this drop off in efficiency from year 3 to year 4. That's as drastic as this without seeing some sort of bounce back. He's in a division that I think is, should be generally conducive, like outside of the Houston Texans, to, some intriguing matchups. I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater just yet on Trevor Lawrence,
Yep.
but I mean, yeah, you've got to get concerned. But the good thing is they paid him. They're kind of stuck
I,
with him. So, like,
it feels like I'm just waiting for a coaching change here, and I understand maybe Trevor Lawrence is the coach killer, right? I mean, Urban Meyer already got fired. Maybe Doug Peterson will get fired, but we've seen across the NFL what a good offensive mind and offensive coordinator can do, and I just don't think Jacksonville has that. Doug Peterson's offense, you go back from the second half of last year to now, looks awful. Like there's nothing creative in this offense. It looks very stagnant. It's not a good time to be a Jacksonville Jaguar fan with an 0-2 start. Kate, I want to talk about some running backs that performed well on Sunday. There were several that had big games. Let's talk about my guy, Brian Robinson, next. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. I absolutely love Gametime. It's what I use to buy all of my tickets for sporting events, comedy events, anything you want to go to. Gametime now has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier and faster than ever before. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. I love their panoramic view, so you can see exactly what your seats are going to look like before you buy. Plus, they have the lowest price guarantee, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We are discussing some running backs that had strong performances in week 2. Kate, we got to start with Brian Robinson.
Let's start with Brian Robinson, who I have to admit I was skeptical of, but over 2 games this season, 173 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. In week 2 in particular, averaged 7.8 yards per carry, 133 total yards. We've seen back-to-back games with 15 plus touches. They are leaning on him pretty heavily, 3+ targets in each of the last 2 games. I mean, Brian Robinson, he had a good matchup this week. I expected him to do well, but I think in general, I am just kind of pleasantly surprised to see the utilization of Robinson here in 2024.
He's a good player. And I know that Jade Daniels, his athleticism helps a lot because he has to keep defenses honest. But this is what we were hoping for this summer when we were talking about Brian Robinson, maybe being a value as somebody who was being drafted outside the top 30. Obviously, we'd like to see the touchdowns get better. Didn't have a target in the passing game this week, which is a little concerning, Kate. But overall, like, super efficient. They're giving him a ton of work, and that's all you can really ask for right now. What other running backs stood out to you in week 2?
Definitely got to talk about J.K. Dobbins, who, I mean, Marcus, over the past 2 weeks, just absolutely dominating. Tied for the second most rushing yards in the National Football League, 2 touchdowns over the past 2 weeks. He looks so explosive. 33% missed forced tackle rate. That ranks second among running backs with 25 plus attempts so far this season. He's averaging 9.8 yards per carry, 4.8 yards after contact per attempt. That ranks second, only behind the aforementioned Brian Robinson. 40.7%. Sorry, I don't want to shortchange him by 0.7% here. 40.7% of his rush attempts are going for a first down or a touchdown. He looks explosive. And I mean, maybe the most important aspect of all is that he looks to be the guy on this offense that wants to run the ball and wants to run the ball very, very often.
Yep. Another running back that I wanted to mention, I guess I didn't watch the game, Kate, but I heard Alvin Kamara had 4 touchdowns against the Cowboys. 20 carries for 115 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just kidding. I watched every second of that game. 2 receptions for 65 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he obviously looked fantastic, but the real story of that game is Clint Kubiak, the Saints offensive coordinator. They finally got out of the stone ages of Pete Carmichael calling this offense and went to a more modern offense. And everybody in that offense looks better. Derek Carr averaged 15.2 yards per attempt in this game. They ran for 190 yards. Rashid Shaheed had nearly 100 yards and a touchdown. Chris Olave was making big plays. Like, I kind of just want everybody in this offense right now.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. I mean, Rashid Shaheed in particularly, I feel like you just got to keep shouting him out because this is the second big week we've seen from him. Chris Olave also been involved. 9 targets over the past 2 games, but it's been Shaheed that's kind of been this big play merchant here for the Saints offense. 169 yards, 2 touchdowns over the past 2 weeks. Like, there's a lot to like, I think, in terms of what this offense might offer, just in terms of overall scoring potential. And this might be one of these offenses that, like, if you are in need of a deep play, if you're in need of a potential promotion commotion star, just because of the way this offense is rolling right now and how it looks under Clint Kubiak, the potential for scoring, this might be one of those offenses that we're going to pull some sleepers out of throughout the year, just as dart throws on any potential week, because this offense will be scoring points. And that is not something that I thought I would be saying here. I didn't think there was any miracle worker strong enough to pull Derek Carr, etc., out of the deep, dark depths of Derek Carr. Clint Kubiak might be the guy.
I mean, this offense looks unbelievable. And this Dallas defense, at least I thought, was pretty good right there. They've been one of the better defenses, certainly at home over the last couple of years. And the Saints scored 6 touchdowns on their first 6 possessions against Dallas. They could have scored 70 points in this game if they wanted to. It was that dominating of a performance. So well done by the Saints. And I think Alvin Kamara, one of the biggest fantasy and dynasty winners coming out of week 2. That is it for today's show. We want to thank you for making Locked On Dynasty your first listen every single day. Go check us out on YouTube. We are free and available on all platforms. Go check out the new Locked On NFL show. 2 shows every single day. 1 in the morning with the madman Tyler Rowland. 1 in the afternoon with the barber Tony Wiggins. They do an absolutely fantastic job of covering the league. They have the Locked On local experts helping out as well. 2 shows every day at the new Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Go follow Kate on Twitter at Kate Modjuk. I'm at Marcus_Mosier. Enjoy Monday Night Football, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.